Hi guys, welcome to another edition of our ESL lessons. All right, this time is a continuation of the lessons about voices of the verb. And by the way, before anything else, this is Eric Fernandez, an ESL teacher or English as a second language teacher. Okay, and before anything else, also I'd like to tell you that I always apply what I have learned from my own teaching experience, learning experience, as well as my studies, postgraduate studies, both offline and online. Okay, so in this series of ESL lessons, I always apply the theory about irreducible minimum. When it comes to learning, we only need the minimum in order to learn. So in here, there's a relationship between my two markers, the black and the red marker, towards my small whiteboard. All you need to do as a learner and as a teacher might be watching right now for you to learn is just the marker and the whiteboard, and of course the relationship between you as a learner and me as a teacher. Those are basically the irreducible minimum in order for the learning process to take place. All right, so this time is to supplement you about the voices of the verb that you have learned from our previous lesson. All right, if you may remember, if you haven't watched it, the first part of this series of lessons about voices of the verb was that the basics about voices of the verb, and we use the present simple as a kickoff. All right, so but anyway, let's supplement your learning from that video towards this part 2 of the series of this series. All right, so again, our lessons is not about this. All right, okay, this will be another lesson. I had this with my other students. Okay, let me erase. Okay, so we had, let me adjust my video so that it will be all right fit. The small board will be fit. All right, okay, so again, it was about voices of the verb. Can you read my handwriting? Okay, voices of the verb. All right, so we have active voice and passive voice. Sorry, it's a little bit hot in here. Okay, because it's already summer here actually in Saudi Arabia. It's always summer, but it's really hot today, particularly today. Okay, so you have active voice and the passive voice. All right, active voice is when your subject, okay, active voice is when your subject is the doer of the action. Okay, so your subject is the doer of your action. Sorry. Your subject is the doer of your action, whereas in the passive voice, your subject is the receiver of your action. All right, so there you go. So if you're If you want that your attention is focused on the one doing the action, then you need to use the active voice. And then if you want to focus your attention on the thing done, then you make the subject as the receiver of the action, then you use the passive voice. All right? Are we set? Okay, if you remember or if you watched the first video, I used children love chocolate as our sentence there. Okay, this time let's use another one and let's proceed to past simple instead of present simple, and also present perfect tenses. All right, okay, so let's have, okay, for example, oops, there's a cockroach. Where did it come from? I'm sorry for that. Ahmad drove sedan. Alright, so let's tag the parts, label the parts, so it will be very clear for you. So Ahmed is your subject. Drove is your transitive verb. Like I said, you need to have transitive verb in order to change active voice to passive voice and passive voice to active voice. Oh, I'm really perspiring. This is not the right timing, but it doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter. Okay, as a teacher, we are flexible, whatever the circumstances. We will try to deliver lessons no matter what. Okay, then you have, if you are a teacher by heart, okay, or at heart, then you have a sedan as the object. Okay, so it's very clear. So what is the voice? Of course, this is an active voice because your subject is the one doing the action, driving. Okay, so this is active voice. So what do we do to change this to passive voice? All right. Before that, let's refresh you the form of the passive voice. The passive voice is always be plus the past participle form of the main verb. So like I mentioned, only the be conjugates, means that only this one changes to its form depending on what tense you're using. Okay, last time it was about present simple, then you will be using am is are, but this time since our main verb is past simple, then your be must be was or were. Between was or were. When your subject is singular, you're going to use was, and when your subject is plural, then you're going to use were. Then of course your main verb must be in the past participle form. Okay, now again, to change this to a passive voice, the object becomes the subject. Then your subject here becomes the object in the by phrase or by agent. So since your object here is a sedan, then you will have, of course, you will start with a capital letter. A sentence always starts with a capital letter. I always emphasize that to my students, and they keep on forgetting. All right. A sedan, so as a teacher, you always have to remind them, especially if you have a type of learners who actually really don't care much about the details. All right. So you have to keep on reminding them. If you are a teacher or if you teach Arab students, then you have to do that all the time actually. Okay, a sedan becomes your subject here. Then what will be your verb? Your be verb is between was and were. Since you have a sedan is a singular subject, then of course you will have was. Then the PP, the past participle form of the verb drove. Then you have, how do you conjugate the verb drove? Drive as the base form, drove the past form, then PP is driven, right? So do I need to write the conjugation? Okay, let me. So you have drive, drove. When you conjugate the verbs, you only need to have the base form, the past form, and the past participle form, driven. Drive, drove, driven. Okay, so this is the only thing that you need after the be verb was. So you have driven. Okay, a sedan was driven, and then you will have the by phrase after. Okay, and in here it's Ahmed, then you just write Ahmed. Okay, if you need to use the pronoun he, she, it is in here in your subject, then you need to use this objective form of that pronoun. For example, since this is Ahmed, he, then of course you're going to say him here, objective form of pronouns. You will have a separate lessons about pronouns in another video. You might as well check to learn more about pronouns, its forms, subjective form, possessive form, objective forms, all right, and reflexive forms, all right. Okay, I really am sorry, I'm perspiring, but again, I don't care about that. Oof, actually, I'm perspiring right now because right before this video tag, I had my compound exercise. I'm sorry for that. I just feel guilty that I will not be shooting for you guys. So here I am. Okay, so you have here, a sedan was driven by Ahmad. So here is the passive voice. That easy, isn't it? Don't you think that's easy? All right. So again, to change the active voice to passive voice, you only have to label the parts in the active voice sentence. All right. Subject, verb, transitive verb, object. The object will become the subject in the passive voice. Your be verb is the your main verb rather will be be plus pp. So if it's a past simple, it will be was or were plus the past participle form of the main verb, and then you will have by, and the agent will be from the subject here becomes the agent here, or the object of your by phrase. As easy as that. Okay, do you want to have more examples? Okay, let's have another example. Okay, let me have another example. Okay, he wrote on email. Okay, so you have subject, verb, transitive verb, then you have object. All right, so to change it to passive voice, did I record it, by the way? Oh my god, I did not record it. No, it's recording. I thought I did not record it. I suddenly think, I'm sorry. Okay, what a waste if I did not. Okay, well anyway, passive voice. Okay, so he wrote an email. Okay, your active voice construction, and then change it to passive voice. Then you'll have on, again starts with a capital A, an email. Then what will be your passive voice form of the verb? Then an email is singular, so you are going to use was, and then wrote. How do you conjugate? Write, wrote, written. Okay, so you have written after. Then by, since you have subjective form here, you will have the objective form of your he, which is him. So an email was written by him. There you go. That easy. All right. Isn't that easy? Of course it is. All right. If you have any questions, just comment down below. All right. And if you want more examples, I can give you more. Why not? Okay. I have some supplementary lessons, worksheets, and everything. If you want to ask for that, I can also give you. Just send me a message or comment down below. All right. Now we had the past simple tense here. All right. Let's try with the present perfect form. All right. Let's see. It's not difficult. Don't worry. Okay. Let's use the same example that we had, the first sentence that we have today. The verb, what was the verb again? Drove. Okay, so let's use the verb drive. So let's use another name. Okay, Sarah. Sarah has driven a truck. Wow, how strong Sarah is. Sarah has driven a truck rather. Okay, so you have Sarah as your subject, has driven is your transitive verb in the present perfect form. Remember, your present perfect form is has plus pp. Then a truck is your object. So the same thing, you have, when you transpose this to a passive voice, your object becomes your subject. So you will have a truck. Okay. This time, what is the form for the past participle? For the present perfect. For the present perfect, the form is has, have, been, all right, plus pp. Okay, has for singular subject, have for plural subject, then you have been constant and pp constant. All right, so this one, as I said, conjugates. This is your be verb. Okay, so since a truck is your subject, then you will have has been, then you will use the same because this is already in the PP form. Has been driven by, of course, I'm sorry for that, Sarah. All right, you get it? A truck has been driven by Sarah. As simple as that. Only has, had, been plus past participle form. Okay? Do you need more example? All right, let's see. This time let's use a regular verb because we've been using irregular verbs. Drive and write are irregular verbs. Let's use one regular verb this time. Regular verb ends in d or ed or ied. All right. Okay, so let's see. My mom. Sorry, mom, rather. This is a British English spelling of mom. All right. My mom has cooked. Okay. The meal. Whatever meal we're referring to. Maybe dinner, maybe lunch, or maybe breakfast. All right. My mom has cooked. This is a regular verb. Cooked the meal. How do you change that to a passive voice construction? Then you will have the meal. Starts with capital T. All right. Singular subject. Then you will have has. Then don't forget the been, of course. And then the past participle form. In the present perfect, it's easy because the past participle form is there already. Okay. Whereas in other tense, maybe you need to really conjugate. Okay. By my mom. That's how easy it is. Did I miss anything? All right. Okay, by the way, you may wonder why I'm using British English. Okay, they say when in Rome, do as the Romans. Okay, I'm here in Saudi Arabia. Geographically, I don't know, the geographical reason probably that's why they're using British English here. Our books are in British English. So I'm actually comfortable using British English, all right? And I know I'm very comfortable with either British or American. Why? Because back in the Philippines, we use American English. And then when I came here, they use British English. So I can really differentiate between American English and British English. So since I'm here, I don't want to confuse my students, my learners, Why like this and like that? I don't want any more questions. So might as well use British English, all right? Or anyway, it doesn't matter whether you use British English or American English. It even doesn't matter if you mismatch or if you mix British English and American. I don't care at all. Even your accent would mix, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you are understood. What matters is that there is a communication going, all right? That is most important. But of course, sometimes there's a need to just use plainly American or all through British, all right? It depends on the situation. Where the situation calls for really anything, then it really doesn't matter, all right? In learning English as a second language, it's not only learning the language itself, but learning also that all the rest of us are actually learning differently, and because we have different first languages, then the tendency is that the English as a second language is of course how do I say, is influenced by our first language. That's why in India they have Indian English, in Philippines they have Philippine English, in Japan they have Japanese English, and so on and so forth. That's why it's not the only when you're learning English as a second language, you're not learning British English and American English as well. You also have to understand that there are also other Englishes around the world. All right. Okay, so that's it for our lesson for this time. Okay, and watch out for more parts for the voices of the verb. I feel the need to do more parts for this because there are still more lessons to have about voices of verb. Okay, because first is that there are also other tenses that I did not touch today or this time. I only had touched so far present simple, past simple, and present perfect. In our next video, I'll be using more tenses that we haven't used this time, like say past perfect, past continuous, present continuous, future simple, and the like. And also next part will be probably about how to change passive to active. This time you know how to change active to passive. Next video you'll be learning how to change passive to active. All right, if you find this easy, there is no way you find it difficult to change passive to active voice. All right. But actually, to tell the truth, some learners actually get confused. Okay, so in that case you only need to practice more. Okay, or probably need more supplementary lessons to really understand everything. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to hit the like button and share and subscribe to my channel to learn more or to be updated with the videos I'm uploading about ESL learning and related subject matter. We got this.